Welcome to the Unreasonable Life podcast. This is where we get to redefine what's possible and inspire you to create a life that is extraordinary. I'm Dr. Nona Javid, an entrepreneur and author, quantum leap teacher, and founder of Elevate Club and 1 Week a Month Mastermind, a professional life liver, and your guide to living boldly. Every episode, I'll sit down with an incredible guest who has shattered limits, pursued their biggest dreams, and created lives that others have called impossible. Together, we're going to uncover the stories, the strategies, the lessons that will empower you to live your version of that unreasonable dream life. Because the life that you want isn't unreachable. It just happens to be unreasonable. Let's dive in. Hey, Danielle.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. I'm excited to have you learn more about you today.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here.
Yes. Okay. So the number one thing I want to learn about you, there's a lot. There's a lot I want to learn about your journey, what you do, and all the great things that you offer. But I want to know, how did you go from what you were doing? I'll let you tell the story instead of getting into it. But you were doing some things that are wildly different than what you are doing right now. Let's just put it that way. Tell me about that part of your story. Let's start there.
Yeah, I did like what most people do is I got a very safe job. I was a nurse for 24 years and I woke up at about 44 years old and I was like, this cannot be what I'm here to do. I realized I wasn't happy, but there was a lot of things in the medical field that I was waking up to. One of them being that the medical field, the healthcare system was keeping people sick. And I thought, that's not what I got. That's not why I became a nurse. I didn't become a nurse so people could stay in this system. I actually wanted to help people get better. And I had found this thing called human design. And I was really learning to live in this thing called an experiment, which is really following your body and learning what alignment feels like for you. And the deeper I got into this experiment, the more I realized that I actually was in a career that was not my greatest and highest purpose. But there were some themes there that really had my heart, but mostly it wasn't it. So I made a decision to retire as a registered nurse, and I did not have any kind of career as a plan B. I had been giving people human design readings. I was really excited about human design. I felt very passionate about this new way of living, this energy way of living. But, at that point, it had just been like friends and family, and probably I was annoying a lot of people. But I finally just said, if I'm going to do this all the way, there has to be a moment where I stop thinking about it and I just do it. And so I jumped. I did that and I thought, we'll see where this human design reading business takes me. And within a couple of months, I started to sell out my readings, and then I needed to raise my price for my readings. And within about 18 months, I looked at my numbers and I was like, oh my gosh, I've made over $1 million just helping people become better people. And I actually feel like I'm helping people heal. So it was a jump off of a cliff based on some little chart on the internet that I just decided held something for me. And I allowed it to lead me into a better life.
Okay. Now, I'm super curious about your experiment. You called it your experiment, right? The experience. You're living in the experience, living in the experiment.
Well, human design calls it an experiment.
Okay.
So they say, just try to live this way. You weren't brought up to live this way. It's going to feel like you're living in a whole new way. You're making decisions in a whole new way. You're learning to feel what your body is telling you about what's next for you or good for you or right for you or not right for you or good for you.
Okay.
So you're learning to trust your body as the direction for you to go.
Okay.
And what I learned very, very early on was, I mean, and this is before everyone's now really into human design, but before all of the stuff was available online, I just kept looking for, well, how do you do it? What do you do? And it was all about decision making. So I learned very quickly, like, oh, I don't trust myself to make decisions. Like, I don't even know how to make decisions. Why is that a big deal? But the more I leaned into, I've got to listen to my body and learn how my body is teaching me to make decisions that are good for me, meaning it leads me into a greater life with more potential, more opportunity, more things that really light me up.
Mm-hmm.
The more I did that, the more I realized that I am the creator of my reality based on the quality of my decisions.
Okay.
And so I experimented with that over and over and over again. And what happens is you start to realize that you're actually connecting to this wise version of yourself, right? The more empowered version, the version without fear, your highest self. And I was starting to connect with like this voice in my head that would tell me like, do this, do that, or go this way or go that way, or don't say this or say it like this. And I thought, that isn't me. Like, that isn't the typical way that I would address the situation. The typical me was very reactive, very much in fear, very, like, dare I say, like, hyper productive, like trying to force things to make things happen. And this new wiser version of me was like the opposite. Slow down. You can trust. Let's do it this way. And the more I listened to that, the more my life started to work itself out just very naturally, very easily. I didn't have to force anything to come to me.
Yeah. So many things here. It sounds like in some ways, I think this conversation is really helpful because I actually don't have a lot of information on human design. So
Oh, okay.
I'm playing sort of not the devil's advocate, but like, I just don't know. So I'm super curious to know. I come with no information. So it sounds like what you're telling me is, there are the patterns that we pick up from when we're born to this moment, right? Like the dramas and the playground and with our parents and ancestral and all the different things that are happening or have happened. There are those patterns that typically we unconsciously just kind of live through. Like we're reactive, we're hyperproductive. We have
Yep.
all these parts of us that are parts of our hyper identity because we've put them together so that we can protect ourselves and we can survive and we can just do the thing, right? Do this thing called life.
Mhm.
And then it sounds like you recognize the gap between that version of you and then the version of you that you called like the higher self that is potentially actually the real self in some ways, like the
Right.
one you were born to experience the way your soul came into this place, or my soul or anybody who's listening, who is full of potential, is wiser, is, more peaceful, does not have the patterns through which we live life. And so you started to connect with that version. Is that fair to say?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I remember thinking, like, before I could even look at something like a chart on the internet to like tell me who I am,
Yeah.
I was in a place in my life where nothing was working. It didn't matter how hard I tried, how much I wanted something, how deeply I believed in, me being right, or, I was in like a lawsuit with my hospital and I knew that I had this virtuous campaign, but it didn't matter. None of it mattered. It was as if the universe was saying to me, that version of you no longer works. So you're going to keep doing this, or let me show you that it can be a little easier if you just learn how to make decisions
Mm-hmm.
in accordance with where you want to go. Like, stop trying it your old way.
Yeah.
Let's learn a new way. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. And then can you walk me through what the experiments, do you still do the experiments now? I assume there's some version of it. Maybe it's evolved, but there's still this connection and communication with the higher self in terms of decision making as you move along. True?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, 100%. Because in the beginning, it's very foreign. It's like, I mean, I don't know. Is it, I mean, do
Like,
I trust this? I don't know.
yeah.
It's like you're building a relationship
Oh, yeah.
with it.
And I think, not to get off track, because I want to talk about the experiment, but I think women, maybe everybody, but we get to a point. Okay, let me just talk about my personal experience. By the time I was like in my late 30s, I started to recognize that I wasn't really listening to what I wanted to do. Like, I'd go out with girlfriends and be like, yeah, I'll have a glass of wine. Or I'd sit down with my ex-husband and I'd be like, yeah, I guess I'll have a burger. I mean, it's just a silly example of it.
Uh,
But I would never, I'd forgotten this concept of like looking at the menu, and not even like for health, like you should have a salad or you should have protein, but more from a desire perspective. Like, what does my body
mhm,
desire in this moment? Because it could have been a burger, or it could have been a salad, or it could have been 3 glasses of wine. It didn't matter. But there was this connection between, like going inward and being like, what do I want to experience right now? Like, do I want to watch this
mhm,
show, or do I want to go to bed, or do I want to take a nap, or do I need to work through this? Do I want to? I
mhm,
need to. So
mhm,
you sort of
mhm.
lose that along the way. I think that's probably facts for all of humanity, not just women. But I do notice a lot of women in their late 30s, they come to this realization of, what the heck was I doing? Who am I? Where am I headed? And what's not real for me? And how can I
Yeah,
be more intentional?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, 100%.
Okay. So here's the question. The experiment. Tell me all about it now. Like, give me a day in a life where real practical
Mhm.
challenges you'll face, or like from the moment you wake up. It doesn't have to be like the entire day, but like, give me an example of walk me through what that would look like for you to go through the experiment, to make the connection, to make those decisions entirely.
Yeah, I mean, so like I said, in the beginning, I was learning how to have a relationship and I was learning not to disassociate and go right into my mind and let my mind drive it. So what I learned to do was in the morning, it's very sacred time for me. So as soon as I get up, I am just with my body. So like, am I hungry? Did I feel like I get enough sleep? Like I'm in a conversation with my body. And pretty soon I'll feel my energy turn on. And there are different parts of this chart that like now, I can look back and see, oh, this is what's working. But you can just feel when it starts to turn on and it kind of moves you into your day.
Okay.
So I just allow that to be how it operates through my day.
Mm-hmm.
Now, a lot of people will be like, but I'm afraid, what if it won't get me to my appointment at 9 a.m.? Like, what if it won't, like, what if I can't live my life and take care of my responsibilities? Well, the genius thing about this is your higher self knows that you have responsibilities and is always making sure that you manage everything that you have going on, period. So I just learned to trust, okay, my body's moving. It's time to get up. I get my coffee. I go back. I journal. But I'm first and foremost, I'm connecting with my body.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course, like we go through our day. I really look at my day as through the lens of, and you just said it perfectly, do I desire to do this? Like, do I desire to show up and do this thing? And at the end of the week, I will look back at my week and say, was there something I did that kind of pulled me out of my creative juice, pulled me out of my creative flow? And is that something I can delegate? I can get rid of completely. I don't need to do it at all. Or maybe I need more space and time to give myself the energy that I'm looking for in that moment. So it's been a practice and it stays a practice. This is a way of life because the way the experiment, I mean, because that's what it's called an experiment, is to see what you prefer and what you don't prefer.
Okay.
And how do you feel on the other side of that,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? Like I'm sure you will get in rooms with people or be in conversation with people and you'll leave that conversation, you're like, why do I feel like crap? Like I don't feel good.
Yes.
Like,
That's
you
that's
know?
that's a good example. Like, as I went through this where I had to really practice asking myself, and one of the things I teach my students too is like,
always ask yourself two questions. What do I want? What do you want to experience next? And also what needs to die? What are some parts of yourself that you need to not expend? I remember I've had small decisions that I've had to kind of get in tune with my body and with myself to go, oh, no, we're not talking to the lady sitting next to me in premium economy or whatever, trying to chat me up about something. Like I have to say no, because in the moment, that's not something I want to experience. And I have to stay true to myself instead of her desire to stay entertained. And I've also made some really big decisions that were out of alignment. I remember a few years ago, I've shared this inside of my community. I got rid of a business that was generating, but like one particular part of my business that was generating about $500,000. And I just completely, in a matter of a couple of months, shut it down. And my fiance was like, why are you, this makes no logical sense. I was like, I know, but it's an energetic decision because this ties up energetically parts of my energy that are being held back in this process that I can't put into the things that I actually want to experience.
Yeah.
And all of this came from this consistent questioning of what do I want to experience next and what needs to die. So in this way, kind of clearing the paths for more expansion. Now I have a random question for you. Maybe it's off topic and maybe it wasn't presented in your, the things you're about, but I wonder if you have something to say about this. A lot of what we talk about, like what I talk about in different language and what you talk about, it also sounds a bit like eros. Like, you know how you're like, that energy gets turned on, the creative juice, it's like what we're talking about, this energy that creates life. And if you were to give it a name, it would be eros, right? Do you have any thoughts on that, or is that the right parallel? I could also be completely wrong. I just threw that out.
No, I think that's exactly it. We are here to create. We're here to create, and then we get to choose how we want to create. We can choose to create more pain for our life and more shadow experience, or we can choose to create more life. I choose to create more life in the way that adds more life. So that has to come from desire. That has to come from, I'm allowed to desire more. I'm allowed to want. Like one of the big things that I woke up to, and I'm like looking back on it now, I'm like, how could I ever not see this? But hindsight's 2020. It was like, I always wanted big things for my life. And I was always, Danielle was always wanting this and doing all these things. And my parents would always say, you don't need that. You don't need it. And so I disconnected from my desire.
Sure.
But it's like, I want that. Isn't that good enough? And so reconnecting to my body was like, we've been denied what we want for so many years. Like we now get to go create what we want. And as soon as I allowed that to be, that's it. I get to do what I want. And what I want is what I need. So I tell everybody, make what you want, what you need. Like stop putting that on the back burner and saying someday. Like, no, it's now. It's today and now. And that's how your life unfolds better for tomorrow. Like,
yeah. And I,
looking back, I'm like, how did I not know that? But,
well, yeah, with conditioning, right? That's how we don't know the conditioning. Part of it is like, I know I want to bring this up because I think it's going to relate to somebody too. You said your parents told you, no, you don't need that. I heard a lot of just be grateful for what you have. Like, how come you always want more?
Yeah.
Just be grateful for what you have. And I had to overcome a lot of that I can be grateful and I can desire more at the same time. These two are not exclusive of one another. Also, another thing I want to add is you said we can choose the trauma and the shadow. We can choose the other side, the creative, the expansion, right? I have this theory that we are going to expand no matter what. Like you're going to expand. There is no such thing as de-evolution. Everybody who is in physical form is going to evolve. Now, if you don't choose to create intentionally, then the universe, God, whatever you call it, you get slapped in the face and get thrown in the shadows, and you have struggle and challenges that pop up in order for you to also expand and evolve. And I think what I love about what I do and the containers I have and what you get to do with your communities is that we get to help people evolve in an easier, juicier, more fun, more eros, more desire, more creativity, and just more of everything that we want to do intentionally instead of getting slapped around along the way to learn a lesson
Yeah.
or two.
Yeah. Yeah. I was just telling a client earlier, I was like, you get to step out of the karma wheel. Like, you see what's going on here, and you actually have a choice now. You can say, I'm done with that, and I'm going to choose to create in a different way. And I heard it said one way a while ago. It was like, it takes a lot of energy to create more life, to go where you haven't gone, to evolve. It also takes energy to stay where you are. So you can use all your power to stay where you are and use all of it to reconfirm that story of I'm powerless. So you're using your power to say I'm powerless, or you can use your power to say I'm powerful and I get to create what I want. And, I used to think that I couldn't do that because the world told me I needed to be XYZ, nurse on this floor with all these certifications in order to make a living to support myself and my family. But what I realized was when I said, I don't want that, I want this, meaning I just want to try something I want to do, I was supported with money. Like, I remember I told my ex-husband, I said, I don't want your child support anymore. I don't want your alimony. Like, I'm going all in on this thing. Like, I'm on fire with this. I just need to see where this is going to go. And I made like 30 grand in 3 weeks. And I have never looked back, because as soon as you allow yourself to want more and put yourself on the line, the universe co-conspires. All that power that you're putting forward meets you right there and lifts you the rest of the way. Like, it's law.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I'm only bringing up money because it's such a tangible thing. But I heard this saying that says if you want to make more money, you have to desire things that require more money. So,
Oh, that's a good one.
right? Every time that you jump or quantum leap, like when you buy the bigger house that you can't afford, when you go all in into a business and you cut out your child support and everything else, like those are big bites. And I'm a big believer that you take the big bite and then you learn how to chew it. Like, the universe will expand you in such a way that becomes available to you. You're not going to choke on it. You're going to be just fine.
No.
It's just really uncomfortable because it's just it's an expansion, and that just happens to be that way. But thank you so much for sharing your story. So tell everybody about how you support people, and more importantly, where can they learn more about you?
Yeah, well, what I created after working with a bunch of different women around this experiment was everyone was asking me, how do I use this information in my business to create more abundance through my business? So I created something called the Wealth Codes, and you can download your wealth code chart. I think we're going to give your audience the link, and watch the masterclass where I tell you how I use these codes every single day. So it's very similar to me describing the experiment, how to use it in your business. And I would love to just share my podcast, which is Wealthy and Aligned by Human Design. And I will share the link there. And every week I give many little master classes on the energetics and how to combine energetics and strategy and all of the things so that you can really feel very abundantly supported in your business while you create more of what you want.
Amazing. We'll put all of those links into the show notes. I highly suggest you go check out Danielle wherever you can, whatever is aligned. Get in touch with her, and she did my chart also. So I'm gonna chat with her later and see where I'm at, where I'm headed, and how I can quantum leap in my life using what she knows. So I highly suggest you do the same thing. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching, and tune into the next episode.
Thank you for tuning into the Unreasonable Life podcast. I hope that today's episode has inspired you to dream bigger, act bolder, and step into your own version of an unreasonable dream life. If you loved what you heard today, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with someone who's ready to take their next bold leap. And I'd love to hear your thoughts and connect with you. You can follow me on Instagram and share your biggest takeaways from today's episode. And remember, the life that you want isn't unreachable. It's just unreasonable. Until next time, keep challenging the status quo, and I'll see you on the next episode of the Unreasonable Life Podcast.